All right, all right. You are tuned into Heart Connections with your heart coach, Adelai Brown, right here on your community station with international inspiration, kinetichifi.com. Did you guys enjoy the midday mix? That midday music mix was brought to you by Conversations with LJ and Adelaide, which will be debuting tomorrow, Thursday, April the 26th at 7 p.m. right here on kinetichifi.com. So you can check out Dr. Castle from 3 to 4 after you listen in on Heart Connections, and then come back at 7 p.m. for some Conversations with LJ and Adelaide. It's going to be great. We're really looking forward to it. Let's get into the talk portion of our show today. It's Work It Out Wednesday, and we're making it happen. And I was talking about so far, and this segment is brought to you by my new book, Help Save Me from My Broken Heart, Your Journey to Living and Loving Again. And I wanted to switch gears a little bit. It's Work It Out Wednesday, and we are working it out. But I talked about it a little yesterday, and I want to bring it back up today. I said I was going to wait until 1 o'clock, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it up now. The shooting in Nashville, the Nashville shooting that took the lives of 4 innocent Waffle House customers, patrons. And I've had quite a few people reach out to me to talk about their anger and their frustration be due to the lack from the White House. Our president is usually very vocal about things that are going on. There was just a big rally, like a white supremacy rally in Georgia a couple of days ago that, from my knowledge, from what I've seen, has yet to be addressed by the president. And now the shooting, and it's not, we should expect the president to speak out against travesties that take place in his country, which he should. But he's had such a history of being vocal when people speak out for their rights and say things. But in times when it's very clear that there's racial prejudice and discrimination going on towards people of color, he seems to be very silent. Him and many people surrounding him. I'm good with what I know, and what I don't know, I'm fine with that too. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I can feel the hurt and pain in the hearts of many people who are watching these things happen. Young Mike Brown, Philando Castillo, there's no shortage of names that I can come up with for all of the people of color, and all of the people of color who have been just for being Black and terrorists in the United States, because this young man was a terrorist. He definitely had mental health, and terrorists in the United States, because this young man was a terrorist. He definitely had mental health issues and things of that nature. He has had a long history of 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 run-ins with the police. He actually ran to the White House and threatened a Secret Service person back in July of 2017. He was arrested in a restricted area near the White House. He said he wanted to meet the president. In early August 2017, an Illinois police officer encountered him again, reported that people were tapping his phone and computer, and that this is what Mr. Rankin said was going on. And unknown people outside his residence were barking like dogs. And he's had a history of mental illness. And I don't deny that. The problem that a lot of people are having is it's as if when someone white kills people, does very irrational things, or even with the epidemic with the drugs, the epidemic with the opioids and the prescription medication, it's no different from the crack epidemic that, terrorized the Black community in the 80s and 90s. And now it's like the nation we need to come together. We have an epidemic going on. And guys, this is what I'm saying. And this is for everybody listening. This is for Black people, white people, Mexican people. You can be French, you can be Chinese, you can be Cambodian, whatever it is that you are, this is for all of us. We have a heart issue that has to be addressed. The issue of colorism and privilege in the United States is going to be our demise if we don't start to deal with it. We don't have time to tiptoe around the facts. The truth of the matter is, if the tables were turned and this had been a black man that killed four innocent white people in a Waffle House, this would have been all over the news. If all of the worst pictures you can find of him would be out there. And now it's like, oh, he has a mental illness. And I'm not saying that he doesn't, and I'm not being sensitive to those with mental illnesses and things of that nature. But what I'm saying is we have to get to a space where we can have these difficult conversations and say, hey, we have a problem in society. Things are very biased. Justice is not justice for people of color the same way it is when you are not a person of color. Well, everybody is a person of color, but white people in the United States versus everybody else. And when I look at this shooting and I look at the lack of press, I'm not seeing anything coming across my timelines and news feeds about this. When other things take place, this stuff comes up. It's just it's sad and it's frustrating and it can be very discouraging. And this is one of the reasons why I'm encouraging you guys to work it out and make it happen. We have to get to a space where we can see headlines like with Mr. Rankin and the things that he's done, and we can look at this injustice and we have to go back and look at what happened, who made these decisions. Now, how do we deal with this? Like what Starbucks is doing, some people say Starbucks is not doing enough. Starbucks is closing down all of their stores in the United States. Like 8,000 stores are going to be closing down on May 29th. And when those stores closed down, they're going to be doing training on racial prejudice and bias and things of that nature. And I think that Starbucks is setting a tone for what the United States government needs to do, what local and state and local governments need to start doing, and business owners need to start doing in the workplace. But the truth of the matter is, people have been in Starbucks in Pennsylvania, where the two black men were put out for waiting. They said they were arrested for being black while waiting. That was not the first time something like that had happened in Starbucks, but the CEO of Starbucks said, we're going to do something to overhaul this. We're going to do the best we can to overhaul this. And what I'm saying is, I don't care where you are and what you have going on in your life. When you have a part to play in everything that's going on around you. And when we look at the sad state of racial injustice in the United States, it's always been like this. And we have to continue to work for it to be better. If we look at it and say it's always been like this, we will never get changes. But if we look at it and say, if I can do something that can help me see somebody better, if I can do something that can help me connect with somebody on a deeper level where I don't just see the color of their skin, or I don't just see their gender, or I just don't see the fact of whatever their socioeconomic class is, but I see the person and I care about the person, and I am a human just like they are a human, and I will love and respect them for being a human just like I am a human. And when we start to adopt these mindsets and adapt our mindset to those types of mindsets, we will start to see a change. We will see a shift in the atmosphere where mentally ill people won't feel inclined to just walk out and just want to shoot people because they're black or because they're brown. It's a sign of ignorance. It's a sign of it's a sign of evil. And that's another thing about these racial things. Because this stuff has been going on so long and it's so personal to so many of us, we miss the fact that this is something that has been going on since the beginning of time. There's always been some group of people that has been oppressed. There's always been somebody that's been discriminated against. It's always been like this. And one of the things we have to understand is we have to fight on a higher level. We have to be willing to get to a spiritual place where we want to work on our individual selves. I had to work on my own prejudice and in my heart from the frustration and hurt and pain that I had of years of being a Black female in this society, especially growing up in the South and seeing the injustices, and people are just okay with it. It's like it's a norm. Nobody says anything. That stuff can make you hard and it can make you frustrated. And that's why a lot of people are hard and are frustrated. But what I'm telling you is don't go fighting fire with fire, because all you're going to get is a greater fire that's going to consume everyone. We have to take a higher road. We have to understand that love does conquer all. When we start to invite Christ into things, we can start to see changes. We can start to see restoration. We can see the steps we need to take next in the healing of this society and this nation that we're in. We have a mass incarceration problem. We have a problem with addiction and prescription drugs. We have a problem with pornography and incest and molestation and rape, and all of these things are kind of going undercurrent. Like, people don't want to talk about them, and I know why a lot of people don't want to talk about them, because they don't always have solutions. I don't necessarily have a solution, except for we have to keep talking about these things and praying about these things and constantly confessing and going to God about these things to gain clarity and how to help these things. I've been making new friends over the past year and a half, 2 years, and having more conversation because I asked God to help me. I don't want to be racist. I don't want to be prejudiced, but I also know I see this injustice and I don't know what to do with it. And God started helping me, showing me what to do with it. Just like by now, switching gears and saying, hey, we're going to do this Heart Talk segment. We're going to talk about the Nashville shooting. I didn't even get to talk about a lot of the points that I had, but I allowed my heart to talk. And that's what Heart Talk is all about. And I want to encourage you, have conversations. Put yourself in those uncomfortable. This right here, I know I'll get some type of backlash from it. I don't care. I love everyone. I love people who are difficult to love. I love people who I don't like. But I love them because they're human. I love them even if they don't like me, but I respect them because God thought enough to breathe breath into their lives, just like he thought enough of me, and I have to respect that. So I encourage you to have conversation and give people grace. Give yourself grace, but give people grace so that you can get to know them better, so that we can grow through this, because it's not about black and white. It's not about rich and poor. It's not about anything else but good and evil. We are in a battle, y'all, and we have to be clear on who and what we're fighting and how we have to fight it. So you think about that. This has been Heart Talk with your heart coach, Adelai Brown, right here on your community station with international inspiration, kinetichifi.com. Prayers going out to everyone affected by the Nashville shooting, Parkland shooting, everyone. Just, we're praying. There will be a time. Lord, shine your light in these dark spaces. High five. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Heart Talk with your heart coach. I can't really see who is live, but I know somebody is here with me right now, and I thank you so much for being live. Just had to share what was on my heart. I hope you can catch the station and catch the beautiful song that's playing now. There Will Be a Time, Baba Mall and Mumford and Sons. But I want to encourage you to have the conversation. We just have to keep talking about it. We have to keep stirring it up, even if it's uncomfortable, even if we don't like it, even if it doesn't make sense, even if people get angry. Listen, we're going to have to push through. And that's just a part of the process. I love y'all. And we'll be back at 1:30 with some more Heart Talk. But in the meantime, just keep on talking. Let your heart speak. I love y'all. Remember, like, share, subscribe.